Okay, this is Aaron again with Exalted Lamb 1, and I have my last video probably about this time frame. If you've seen my last video, if you haven't, please watch it. iPad Go 2 solved. Golden Gate is about to open, basically. That gets into more detail of this chart and some other things that I've talked about. Also, go back and watch my episodes of the next 9/11, episodes 1 through 12, and it gives you a good idea of all the things that basically point to this time frame. And I thought at that time, of course, that the 11th month might be November. Okay, for a number of reasons, because Nov is really 9, but then it ends up being 11 as we see it. So there's a lot to that. But 11 is really the 11th month is really January. So I'm going to talk more about this again. This crazy amazing chart here, this timeline here. Go through this again real quick, and then I'm adding another timeline that's within this. I think it's pretty amazing as well. So, and there's some other things I'm going to talk about. So let's go forward here. This is the New York Post article on January 3rd about the death of Qasem Soleimani, and they use this ring as an identifier that he was actually dead. In fact, they use this picture. There's a dead man's hand, and there's the ring. But if you don't know about this yet, this is really crazy because this shows you how they completely script everything, and these guys are probably not dead. The two people that were actually killed, Soleimani and Muhani or whatever, those two guys are probably not dead because check this out. This is not the same ring. Not at all. But they just throw it out there and the public buys it, and with the evidence that it's clear that that's not the same ring. So they basically thrown this out there as just some crazy, ridiculous proof, and it's not proof whatsoever. So I'm going to get into this timeline I had talked about before in my last video again, and then another timeline within it with the USS Abraham Lincoln and what's really going on, I believe. Okay, so like I said, from 2017, the Revelation 12 sign on 9/23, 777 days to the Golden Gate alignment. Like I shared, if you haven't watched my last video, watch that because I get into the Golden Gate alignment. That's what I call it. I discovered it basically, and I have some confirmations that it's what it is. It actually completely lines up the exact same 5 planets in the sun as the Revelation 12 sign, including Saturn, which wasn't on most people's depictions or actually any depiction I saw of the Revelation 12 sign. It was actually a 5th planet in the alignment. So that completely relates these two to each other. Okay, and they're 777 days apart, which is really, God's really into sevens, of course, 777, 77, I'm going to show here. And in fact, his name in Hebrew looks like 777. Okay, to 2019, and that was November 9th was the Golden Gate alignment above, basically parallel over the Golden Gate Bridge from the San Francisco perspective, as I showed in the last video and other videos. Okay, and then we had the birth, which was 9/9/2017, which was 7 plus 7 days before the Revelation 12 sign when Jupiter actually exited Virgo. Okay, and then we have basically from here the Great American Eclipse that was on August 21st, 2017, to the Golden Gate alignment is actually 811 days. And like I've said, these numbers that the elite are using, all these numbers are what God is using in the heavens already, and He's just ripping them off and using them for His own, symbolism and His own messaging and all this eschatology stuff that they're doing, all these rituals and everything, and they're ripping off what God's doing. I'm showing that this is His standard, this is His measurement standard that I believe is finally come together. Okay, and then there's going to be, I think, possibly a birth, okay, of the man-child into heaven, and also, like I said, it's a twin birth. It's the man-child into heaven, as explained in Revelation 12, and then the birth of the Antichrist, and the dragon will appear at the same time, okay, trying to devour the child and basically be birthed onto Earth, which is basically Barack Obama, okay, and that is possibly January 25th, okay, and then so from the Golden Gate alignment right here, okay, 72 days later exactly which is the number of the Lincoln, USS Abraham Lincoln is CVN 72. That's actually the number of the aircraft carrier. which is really crazy. Plus, Trump is number 45 president. Trumple, I'll call him Trumple, and I'll call, um, anyway, 72. Okay, so then we have the Truman, which is it's actually numbered at 75, which is 75 days exactly after the Golden Gate Alignment. Now, why is this important? Well, like I said before, they both went through Golden Gates, and and Truman is right by the Silver Gate right now, which is in the Arabian Sea. The Strait of Hormuz is technically, in their view, the Silver Gate, because it's a representation on Earth of the celestial in the heavens, basically. And it's basically in the vicinity of the Silver Gate right now, the Truman. And then the Lincoln went through the Golden Gate and then the Silver Gate. And I'm going to show you that here in a minute. But basically, that was the Lincoln. That happened on 119. I'm sorry, this is what's going to happen. I'm sorry, 119, January 19th, the Lincoln, I believe, will be attacked, and so will Trumple. And then on this, then Truman basically is just showing the date of the attacks on both coasts, which will be the 22nd and 23rd. Okay, and but it's showing the 75th day after the Golden Gate Alignment, because they're all about the opening of the Gold and Silver Gates, as in the Golden Gate Bridge, and even the Brooklyn Bridge is the representation of the Silver Gate. Okay, so, and then from the Great American Eclipse to the birth, I'm saying, is 888 days, which is phenomenal. This is all very amazing to me. Hopefully you see this. Okay, and then from the conception, which was basically when Jupiter entered Virgo on November 20th. Okay, it actually crossed the plane of Virgo on November 20th, 2016, and then entered Virgo, and then retrograde motion back and forth inside Virgo for basically 9 months. I'm not sure exactly how long it was, which is crazy. And I've talked about this many times, and I've verified so many things with the Revelation 12 sign that it's valid, it's real, and some of the things I'm going to talk about here. Okay, so from that point on, from that conception point, all the way to the actual birth. Okay, so from a conception to actual birth, I believe it's very possible that the man-child in heaven, that will be born into heaven, and then Barack Obama will be revealed as the Antichrist on earth, would be January 25th. That is 1,161 days. And like I said, that is exactly upside down and backwards, 1911, or the 19th day of the 11th month, look at it that way, which is also right here where the Truman and Trump will get attacked. Sorry, the Lincoln and Trump will get attacked at the same time, because they're both 9. Lincoln is 72, 7 plus 2 is 9. Trump is a 45th president, 4 plus 5 is 9. The 99, like I talked about, they both get attacked on 11/19 or 1911. And that's all encoded in God's standard, his measurement standard that I'm showing you right here. Okay, so I'm going to show you another, basically another timeline that I've put together. So Lincoln began its journey this last year, the 2019. I still think it's actually still 2019, because January is the 11th month to the elites. Like I've said before, I'll just say really quick, from September, which is Septem, is really the 7th month to them, not the 9th month. Octo, it means 8 in Latin, and that's really the 8th month to the elite, not the 10th month that we know it as. Novem is Latin for 9, which is really the 9th month, not the 11th month that the masses know it as. And then Decem means 10, or Dec, D-E-C, means 10 in Latin, and that is the 10th month. Okay, so that means January is the 11th month, really to the elites. And like I've said, there's many clues I've shared that that's the way they see it, including Trumple Thinskin in a rally a couple years ago saying that calling 9/11 7/11, and people thought it was an accident, but no, he was telling the real month he believed it was in. In fact, they believe 9/11 hasn't really even happened yet. Okay, that was a shadow of the real set of 9/11s that are going to happen, and they're going to be 3 different attacks. Okay, and I'll get into that. So the Lincoln began on April 1st of this year, okay, of 2019, and then it transited the Strait of Gibraltar. It went across, so it was in Norfolk, Virginia, went across the Atlantic and went through the Strait of Gibraltar, and they call it transiting the strait, okay, which is the Golden Gate. That's what they see it as, and I've shared this in previous videos, how, kind of mirrors, or it represents the Golden Gate in the heavens, as far as where it is in Europe and everything. So 413 through 414, it transits the Strait of Gibraltar, which is the Golden Gate, and that was 13 days later, or the 13th day, I should say. And then from that transit to the day I'm saying here, which is January 19th, Lincoln will be attacked. Okay, and that's the end. That's the 7 days before the very end date, or the 11/19, which is the 11th month, the 19th day, or as we know it as the masses, January 19th. And the 280 days is the average human gestation period. 280 days, which is 40 weeks. Having had 3 pregnancies and 4 total children, I know a lot about that. So anyway, and then, like I said, Lincoln is attacked on that final day. But if you look at the beginning of this, so basically this is a conception and birth, 280 days, but it's also reversed. This is kind of a conception and birth also, but this is also 414 in the 1800s, 1860. Lincoln was attacked and shot on 414. And it just so happens to be this time frame here. And they look at this as a birth. It's basically death and rebirth, or conception and birth is how they look at it. Death and rebirth. Okay, so they look at the death of the current and then the rebirth of the new, or the new system that they want to bring into existence, which is headed by the Antichrist or their false Messiah. So anyway, then during that, in that 280 days, closer to the end point, about 60 days closer to the end point, was Lincoln transited the Strait of Hormuz, as a lot of people know, and they look at that as the Silver Gate. Okay, and that was on 11/19. Have I talked about 11/19 before? Yes. That, in fact, that whole chart I just showed you before this chart, the whole time frame was 1,161 days, which upside down backwards is 1911, 19th day of the 11th month. And they just so happened to transit the Silver Gate on the 11th month, the 19th day of November. But they're really, pointing to the real 11th month, which is January 19th, okay, or 11/19, as elites see it, as I'm saying. So it transited both the Golden Gate and the Silver Gate to fit all their rituals, their symbolism, all the things that they believe in their false religion, okay? And then we have from when the Lincoln began on, by the way, April 1st is April Fool's. This is a way for them to assault Jesus again, because they believe he is the April Fool, because roughly in there is when he was crucified, roughly around April 1st, depending on the year and everything, but roughly around that time. And there's a lot of depth to all that. And then from 280 days from there, you can see how this chart is 13 and then 280 days, and then 280 days from when Lincoln began to 15/16, which is the Epiphany, which is 16/ God's perfect sign, which was on the middle. Again, you got to watch my last video. The middle of the blood moon tetrad, which was January 5th, exactly 5 years later. From that midpoint is this time frame. Then you add 13 days / if you include the day, or if you don't include the day, it's 13 or 14 days. And again, God uses 14, 7 and 7. The enemy has been ripping it off as well. Or you look at it as 13 days with the day not included, 13 days in between. So that makes sense. So you have basically 2 different timelines here, with 13 on either end, and with 280 days, the average human gestation period, and this is all symbolic. Okay, there's more here. Now, in between these 2 dates, the Golden Gate, okay, transit, and this Epiphany, God's perfect sign. Again, Epiphany was the revealing of the God-man, okay, and that's what the Epiphany meant. It's that basically ended up being the 13th day of Christmas. And so, but from the Golden Gate transit to the Epiphany, or God's perfect sign anniversary of 5 years exactly, is 266 days. And again, that's the growth of the baby from conception. So there's a full 280 days, and then there's a 14-day initial from conception, and then there's a 266-day growth, or a 38, in a sense, week growth period. Okay. And then we have down here, why is this all important? even more. So everything I just mentioned already, which is a phenomenal that this all matches up. I'm blown away. Hopefully you see all this because it's incredible. Okay, from when Lincoln began to when Lincoln, I believe, will be attacked, we not only have the human gestation period plus 13 days, which symbolizes for them basically rebellion and other things. We have 293 days right here underneath this thing here. Why is 293 important? Well, I've talked about this in my past videos, but it's been a little bit though, and I'll get into that. So when Jupiter, like I said, entered Virgo right here, this is a representation of that, crossing the plane, was on November 20th, 2016, as I've shared with you on that previous timeline. Okay, right there. Then it bounced around inside here, and then I can't push this thing all the way down, but it came out right there below that, right there between her legs. And that was already amazing in itself, that Jupiter would retrograde, from our viewpoint, retrograde back and forth inside Virgo like a baby moving around. I mean, it's just, there's so many amazing things to this sign. It's phenomenal. And that whole process of this 293 days, that was 293 days. Exactly. Okay. And then it came out on 9/9 or September 9th, 2017. Well, what is 293 days? Well, 293 days is exactly 9 prophetic months. So it's 9 30-day periods. So 9 times 30 is 270. And then we have 23 days left over. So it's 9 prophetic months and 23 days. So 923. Okay, that's very important because I had a dream about 923, America's laid low. We have a couple different 923s in the attack days. One is what's coming up on January 19th. Another one's what's coming up with the tsunamis on January 22nd/23rd. And the 23rd ends up being 923 as well. Okay. Plus, like I said, it's 9 prophetic months or 9 30-day periods. Where is that covered? That's covered in the book of Revelation, like probably 8 different times. The book of Revelation in the Bible talks about these prophetic years and months. Or, for example, 42 months, the Antichrist will reign, things like that. And those are prophetic months, which are 30-day periods, 42 30-day periods. And that's God's timing. And so God, in his own sign, has confirmed by days the exact prophetic months of 9 months and 23 days being his conception and birth. And the enemy has ripped it off by 923. For example, 923:15 was when Obama met with the Antichrist met with the false prophet, the Pope, and that was in the United States, signing a pact to end the United States, basically, making a pact, basically, like I shared in my last video. We're going to watch that if you haven't. And then 923 being the Revelation 12 sign. And do you think that they set up the calendar so it hit exactly on 923? And God's calendar was a different date. God's real calendar based on the sun, moon, and stars in the Bible. Okay, but they set it up that way. So they have their meeting exactly 2 years later to the day was the Revelation 12 sign. And again, they use it for their own nefarious purposes. They believe it's the birth of, they've named the planet Jupiter, but it's really the king planet based on Jesus, the king. But they call it Jupiter because it's also, goes all the way back to Babylonian mystery religion of Nimrod, which is also Osiris. Osiris. It's also other gods, anyway, that are represented by the main god Jupiter and other religions. Okay, so, and then we also have 923 has been shown in tons of movies and TV shows and thousands of times, upside down, backwards, in all kinds of ways. And so they use this for their birthing example, one of their examples. Okay, and now, like I showed you, 293, and then we also have the 280, and then we have the 266. Well, where have you seen that recently in my last video? Right here. Okay, again, God's perfect sign was on January 1st, and then on either side, these blood moons on either end were 266 days from the center point. Now, listen, if any of you that are watching this, again, like I've said, you don't believe in God or you're not really following God or anything, if you ever looked at this and see how these perfectly balance out to the center point, this is absolutely impossible. And like I've shared in previous videos about this sign, this is impossible. Only a creator could have come up with this. So here's that 266 days right here in what happened with the Abraham Lincoln, from when they crossed the Golden Gate, or they transited the Strait of Gibraltar, to this God's perfect sign is exactly these days, 266 days. Again, there is the explanation of that. Okay, and it's actually exactly 7 plus 7 days after that as well, in 2019/2020. However you look at it, the elites look at this still as 2019, but I know elites still look at this as 2019, but the masses think we're in 2020. Okay. Anyway, so it's right here, 266 days. It's a twin birth on either side of this center point. 266 days of this blood moon from the center point, 266 days of this blood moon. So it's showing both births in God's perfect sign. Okay. And then I want to talk about Abraham Lincoln. Basically, I've been tracking it somewhat. I don't have anything from the last 2 days, but within the last 2 days. But 2 days ago on the 14th, it left Pearl Harbor and came, and it's basically right here about 2 days ago. Okay, and I don't have anything more current than that. Them going into Pearl Harbor was huge, and I'm going to get into that and why that is as well. There's so much to that. In fact, if you look at iPad Goat here, there's Obama in this window, and it's panning out. Okay, there's so much I've covered in all this, but I'm going to cover just certain things. It's panning out right above the window. By the way, like I've said before, he is 623. This is the sixth window from the top left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then it's 2 top to bottom, and then 3 left to right. 623 is right here. It's also many other ways. He's 623, which is actually 6 upside down is 923. Again, we have the 923. 623 is shown so many times, and their hand signals when they do the OK sign, like people think over their eye, it's 666. It's also 623. There's so many things to that I've explained. But here, like I use a lightning bolt because his lightning bolt right here is coming down from here. If you see this, and this over here, there's a lightning bolt coming out because Barack Obama in Hebrew means lightning falling from heaven. And so he is the false Messiah that's coming. Okay, that's going to be he's going to come back and to the world and be an answer to a lot of things for a lot of people. Not for me, not for other people that believe the truth. But these are the Hawaiian Islands right here. But they're up and to the right instead of being up and to the left like they really are. And they're kind of rounded a little bit, and they look kind of like semen. And that's the idea. There's semen all over in the iPad Go, which makes it super. See, some people say, oh, iPad Go, there's some really good stuff in there, and it means some really good stuff. Hey, if you really realize that the real intent of iPad Go is evil, even though it does depict good things in it, because the devil has to show some of the things that happen, like in the Agus, the baby, the Christian baby with praying hands that the dragon's trying to devour. But I've heard a lot of people say, oh, iPad Go's got some good things and it's really good symbolism and all that stuff. Well, do you realize that there's semen sprayed over everything in the iPad Go? I mean, it's sick. I mean, would you think that something is good? I mean, most people could watch this video and go, that's sick. This is sick. This is definitely has an evil spin. Now, you could spin it. There's some good things in there that you can get from it. In fact, ultimately, it's a timeline of what the enemy is doing in a cartoon, as people would say. But it's not. It's an animation. It's a computer animation. It shows a lot of information about false flags. Over 50 false flags I found in this. Well, not all I found, but I mean, like I said, total that I know of, I should say. And it started with J.K. Bugout basically finding a lot of different things. And then I started seeing by what he showed me that these fit certain timelines, and he was showing hurricanes that happened. And then I started watching hurricanes happen and knew ahead of time that certain hurricanes were going to hit Hawaii. And that's when I started doing it. And I predicted several things that happened before they happened because of iPad Goat. Okay, and there's many things in here, like, you know, the Notre Dame Cathedral falling from fire, that's in here. I mean, there's so many things. So people think that iPad Goat is not valid. That you're silly. I mean, you don't know enough about it. You need to watch more of my videos or other people's videos that know something about it to know that it's a very good example of the enemy's playbook. Okay, if you don't think so, you just don't know what it is. You just don't know, or you can't see the forest for the trees. Basically, for some reason, because I mean, I prove it every video that there's solid stuff in there. I mean, and it's hidden from most people's view in a lot of ways. You have to have spiritual eyes to see these things. So This is actually the Hawaiian Islands going this way because I reversed the image. Okay, the big island, then you have Maui, you have all the islands going up like that. So it's a little, there's, of course, it's a little bit distorted and they're rounded, but it is that. And as we know, Barack Obama was from Hawaii, supposedly born in Honolulu, not really. Even they put a false narrative out there, even Trump and other people saying he was really born in Africa. No, he was born neither. He's a clone. This is all to throw off the dogs. Africa, Honolulu, all that stuff, because he's the beast from the sea is why they have this main narrative that he's from Hawaii. And there's more I'm going to share about that. Okay. So in fact, the penis that's on the chalkboard in the classroom, was really seeing how it represents the Hawaiian Islands. In fact, right here, I just covered up a little spot that kind of sticks out a little bit, but this looks like, I hate to say this, but it looks like a penis head right here, and it's just crazy. This is what these people do. See, and then this is so good and everything. No, I hate this video, but the Lord has guided me through it to show their plans through it, because there's really nothing like it out there. There's not that many things that have so much information in it in such a short little thing and have multi-layered, multifaceted things going on with all this symbolism. And it's just what he has me doing. I didn't choose this for myself. The Lord Jesus has chosen me to do this, and with other things in the media to tie this together as far as timing. And I had to see other things in the media to really verify this, but also give it more validity, also to understand it more. I've taken so many things in movies and all kinds of stuff to understand it more and understand these timings, because these demons that work behind the scenes, they're working in all this stuff to bring about the same narrative. And so iPad Goat is the closest thing closest in one thing that, shows that narrative that they want to bring forth. It's the most complete thing I've ever seen, and it's sad that that's the case, but it's just what it is, and I'm okay with what it is, even though I hate this damn video, and it should be damned to hell by God, and it will be. And anyway, I have this love-hate in a sense, because I'm glad the Lord has given me this and the understanding about this to reveal to you what's going to happen before it happens in a way. But on the other hand, I can't stand the evil that's all around this whole thing and what they're going to do, and even the nastiness that's in this. I mean, like a penis on a chalkboard. I mean, are you kidding me? So what I believe, this is the big island right here, which represents the penis, the head of the penis. And then it's, this gives you a little bit more of a graphic of what it might be, right? Going like this. And then because this is the first island, this is the big island, it's right here. Second, third, fourth, second, third, fourth. And then the fifth island, or the fourth one from this, is Oahu. Okay, and I'm going to get into what that is. So there's Oahu, and that's the shark. Okay, there's the shark represents Oahu in many ways, but I'm not getting everything. I'll get into some things. That is the shark goddess. In fact, this shark goddess, which they worshipped for a long time in Hawaii, in this area, in one interpretation, Ka'ahupahau was thought to have been a miscarriage by her mother and left in the waters of Pearl Harbor, which is where the Lincoln just came from, and that's why we had the war start in Pearl Harbor in World War II for a number of reasons, but there was a lot going on, and their messaging, the Abraham Lincoln going into Pearl Harbor just a few days ago. In fact, it got in there on January 8th, which is actually the fourth 88th day from January 21st, the blood moon of 2019. It's the fourth 88th day in a row. And then from January 8th, we have another 8 days and another 8 days, which makes an 88 as well. So, but she's still, her mother left her in the waters of Pearl Harbor, but still alive. She transformed into a shark. In another version, she and her brother were born as human, but were later transformed into sharks by a shark god. Okay, and here's a plaque that's in Pearl Harbor. This legend tells how the chiefess mother of, Ka'ahupahau, nurtured her daughter, who was transformed into a shark, becoming the most powerful creature in the sea and protector of the people of Iwa. Anyway, so it's really important that you realize that there's a lot of shark significance to the Antichrist, the beast from the sea. He's also, I've shared in previous videos, jumping the shark. They use that term, and they've used that with Obama so many times. You know, the land shark. That was even in Saturday Night Live. That's a reference to the Antichrist. There's been so many shark references. Anyway, and then let me show you the actually island, the Big Island as well, and how it represents an altar. So Hawaii has 5 volcanoes, Kilauea being the newest and most active. The geographical and typological layout of the volcanic mountains of the Big Island itself resembles the key features of an altar described in Revelation, the book of Revelation, with 4 older mountains as the 4 horns and the younger and more active Kilauea as presently sounding voice. The strong noise sound, that comes from the altar. So actually, Kilauea means a voice. Okay, that's what it actually means. So this is an altar. This is also, like I've shared, this whole thing is a goat's head, and this is the throat right here, and where Kilauea has been kind of bloodletting for a long time. This is the throat, this is the nose, this is the horn, and I've shown this many times in video how the Big Island is a goat's head, or you could also look at it as a sheep's head with a dead sheep with the tongue sticking out down here. Okay, because they're going to destroy a lot of sheep and goats with this destruction of this island, causing massive tsunamis that hit the west coast. At the same time, they're going to be doing big tsunami on the east coast that destroys most of the east coast. So anyway, and then there's the altar. There's an example of the altar in the Old Testament that's used with 4 horns, and then there's a voice. Anyway, there's so much to this. And then this altar sits in the middle. It's also a representation of Libra in the stars, the 4-horned, kind of the balance of justice or whatever in the stars. It's also an example on Earth of Libra. Anyway, Hawaii is an altar in the center with a voice in the center of the ring of fire. And that also represents birth as well. If you know anything about birth, you know that, when a baby's about to coming out, it's the ring of fire for a woman. It's not very good. So this is all about a birth. And so I'm just showing you how this is all representation of sacrifice, killing, birth, all this stuff. It's really crazy without getting into too much of it and having a long video. Okay, so like I said, the shark is a wahoo. It also has dates in it, okay? And I'm going to start with 118 through 19. And like I've shared, that is, the symbolism of that is the head wound of Stinky B.O., like as I'm calling him. I'm not going to use his real name. I think I used it once earlier, though. And then the 19th, 1119 would be the attack on the Lincoln, USS Abraham Lincoln, and Trumbull at the same time, because they're both the 9s. Again, Lincoln is 72. That's the number of the ship. 7 plus 2 is 9, and Trumbull is 45. 4 plus 5 is 9. I've shared how those have direct relationships as being the old Lion Kings. And it's a ripoff, really, of who Jesus really is. He's the Lion King, and he's going to reign very soon in the millennial reign of Christ as the Lion of Judah, the real Lion King, not the phony Disney movie with a bunch of black actors that love Obama and are in basically the same spiritual ranks with the Antichrist Obama. What's her name? I can't think the singer. I'll think of her name. Anyway, very demon-possessed woman. I mean, are you kidding? Beyonce, that's who it is. She's one of the voices of Nala, I think it was, which also that name means something really crazy too, and I can't remember all the, but she's a big, huge supporter of Obama, and she's of the same spirit in many ways. So anyway, we have 118 through 119 represented by Obama BO / Trumbull, okay, but also the location. Now, let me show you this. And then we have 123 represented with 122 or 1122. In fact, that was the the Thanksgiving or Black Friday ad for Walmart. 1122, 6 p.m. And that's about the attack day, which is also, I'll get into that, what that means also. And then we have 125. Now I'm showing you, this is the timeline right here. Like I've shared many times, these are timelines. This is a timeline from 118 to 125. So January 18th or the 11th month, it's 1118 really to 1119, all the way to 1125, or as we know it, January, which is 125. Okay, so, and I'm going to show you this image upside down over here as well. but just so you get an idea what it is here. Okay, so the first thing is 118 in the shark is the fin in the back here, the tail is a 1. There's 8 teeth, and that's the 8. And then these two fins right here are the 11. So you have 1, 8, 11, okay? And then also in it, we have the body is shaped, and I just draw it in a little bit differently right at here because you can actually see the 9. There's a 9 right here, so it's 1, 9, 1, 1. Okay, that, and some people might say, hey, that's a little bit far-fetched, but hey, you know what? When I look at the whole thing, it really works, and they have to do it so it's very hidden. And so far, no one's found this, and I believe I have, and this is what this is saying. Okay, well, time will tell. Okay, and then right here, again, you can see it here upside down, but then you reverse the image, so it's upside down and backwards. There's a perfect 5 right here. So from basically 18, 5 days later is the 23rd. And I've shared this in the CVN number of the Abraham Lincoln and the Truman. The CVN is 3225. And that's the 5 days difference between the first attack day and the tsunami attack day. Okay, then there's a final day. So there's a 5-day difference. And then guess what? In the shark also is 1, 1, 2, 3. I can't really draw that here because this thing won't go all the way down. So 1, 2, 3 in the shark. So far we have in the shark 118, 11, 118. Well, what I'm saying, it's actually, sorry, it's 1811. So it's 11th month, the 18th day of the 11th month. That's what January really is. Okay, and then we have the 9th day, or the 19th day, I should say, 1/9 of the 11th month, and then we have 5 days difference from the 18th, and then we also have 1 represented by January, 123, 123. Okay, and that's in the shark as well. Okay, then let's look over here. So that's 118, 119, 123. See, these are major attack days. And then last attack day, what's 125? Well, right here in the hangman, because again, we're going from the shark to the hangman thing. It's a timeline from here to here. Okay, so in the hangman upside down is the J. Okay, it's right there in the hangman thing. And then we have the head, and that's in Roman numerals. So we have X, X. X is 10. So 10 and 10 is 20. And then this tongue sticking out here is V, and that's 5. So we have January 25th. January 25th. So we have 1/18th through the 19th right here. 5 days later from the 18th is 1/23 right there. And then we have 1/25 right here. And again, it goes from there to there, okay, on this timeline. Hopefully that makes sense. And, you know, people can say, oh, I don't see that, whatever. It doesn't matter. I've shown you many other things that show you these dates as well in all my 12 episodes of The Real 9/11. I've shown it in Back to the Future. I've decoded the Mona Lisa. I've decoded the Georgia Guidestones that are in Georgia. I mean, are you kidding me? So many things with all these codes. It's incredible. Okay, there's Pixar movies, the Pixar code of A113. I mean, all kinds of things. And so you could say, hey, I don't see it in this, but then what about all the other things that you've never watched on my videos? But you should check them out. You should check them out. Okay, and you can see all the evidence I have to bear so far that shows this time frame. And again, from when I started, gosh, months and months ago, I had no idea what all these things were going to come to, but now I think I might have it. We'll see. We'll see if I do or not. But they're all adding up to these same numbers, and ultimately this day will come, whether it's this time frame or very soon, which I don't see another time frame that matches all this like this one. And again, it's the 11th month and everything else. So let's keep going. And then I want to show you this again. And while I was laying out this slide, I'm bringing you the slide of Hawaii. Literally, I got to tell you the experience I had. I've had so many confirmations of the Lord with these timelines I've just been showing you, and many things. And here's one example of a situation that had a testimony that I have for you that's mind-blowing. I cannot even believe it. I still can't believe it right now. So here I am. I'm literally setting this up. This is a slide in PowerPoint I'm using, and I was setting this up, and I was at home. I had a baby. I have twins. If you don't know, twin boys, and they're 8 months and some days old. They're amazing. They really are a blessing from God. I'm so thankful. And my wife works a lot to do a lot for them, and I'm so thankful for everything she does. And here we are. I'm holding one baby. She's holding one baby. We're actually in somewhat of a heated discussion about some things that God's doing, and is this going to happen on this date or whatever? And I literally said, God's given us so many confirmations of this time, even real recently. It's really crazy. And as I said, God's given us so many confirmations. I'm literally on this screen right here, as you can see, and this number pops up. I mean, it kind of pops up right up here, but I'm just giving you an example, like showing you right here, this exact number, and it says Hawaii, just almost exactly like this. I just cut it out with my pen, my S Pen, to cut it out and show you how it came up, and it was from Hawaii. And I was just like, what? I was so stunned, and then I started laughing really hard because the timing it was crazy. I could not believe it. I started laughing so hard. I was laughing so hard that I almost forgot to answer the phone because I was really curious who the heck was calling. I don't remember ever in my life, and maybe it's happened, but I don't recall, and I have a decent memory, ever recall getting a call from Hawaii. I mean, I've been to Hawaii. Me and my wife had a great trip for our honeymoon in Hawaii for weeks. And we're off the Big Island, and we went to all these different beaches and everything. But I've never gotten a call that I could ever remember. Maybe I have, but I don't remember. It's been many, many years ago, if at all. And here I am talking about this, doing this, all into this, and I get this call. Now let me show you why this is amazing. Even the fact that I got this call at this time. Look at this number. It is so crazy. I could not believe it. And immediately I saw stuff in this number right away. I could not believe it. It's definitely from the Lord. By the way, the number was some kind of recording. You can call it if you want. And maybe it was some kind of scam or something. But God used it somehow to speak to me. It's crazy. It's something from Windows, and you get some kind of claim some money or something. And I'm like, no, I don't really do anything with Windows or Microsoft or whatever it was. And claim money. That just sounds like a scam, you know. But still, the message got through to me. It's really insane. So here you go. 8 plus 8 is 16. 3 plus 5 plus 3 is 11. And that upside down and backwards is 1119. And I've been talking about them on my chart and everything. And 1119, and that's the attack day of the Lincoln and Trumbull. And then right here, look at this. Look at this. 8 plus 5 is 13. Okay, and then we have 14. Well, 13, 14, I've showed many times. 13 is 1 plus 3 is 4, and 14 is 1 plus 4 is 5, which is 45. And that's the attack day of the 45th current leader, 45th Prez, 1119, the 45th. Also, another way to look at it, there's several ways to look at this, and maybe some things I don't even see. I'm sure there is. Usually the things I get from the Lord like this are multifaceted, and they're far more than I can even imagine. In fact, usually that's what it is. And then look at this way. If you take 85 plus 14 is 99. And that's the two nines. That's Lincoln, which is 72. 7 plus 2 is 9. And that's Trumbull, which is 45th Prez. 4 plus 5 is 9. The 99 I've shown many times with the dead bush in the middle. Okay, in my other videos. So that is the attack day of both Lion Kings. Old Lion Kings. I mean, it's crazy. I could not believe this. And the timing, I just said God's given us many confirmations, and then bam. And I'm doing this on Hawaii as it's coming in. I could not believe it. Hopefully that blows your mind, because it's still blowing my mind. I can't even believe it still. Like, God does these amazing things for me sometimes, and I just, my mind explodes, and I'm just like, oh. And then in fact, I was exploding and laughing because I was just gut laughing so hard, and I could not believe it. It was just tickling my funny bone like you wouldn't believe, because the timing on this was funny. It was just hilarious. And then another thing that was crazy, a little bit after that, see, this adds to this incredibly. It just kept going. A little bit after that, Sabine, she was telling me about the Gettysburg Address. She said, I need to check it out. And she didn't know about this situation with this call and everything. But a little bit after this happened, she mentioned this to me, and I pulled it up, and I could not believe what I saw. Look at this. I mean, the Gettysburg Address, you should read it sometime here. I'm not going to go through and read it the whole thing, but you can pause it and read it if you don't know what it says. It seemed like he was in the know on some stuff. But anyway, November 19th, 1119. And then check this out. You won't, this is too mind-blowing. 1 plus 8 is 9. 6 plus 3 is 9. It's the same thing. 1119, November 19th, the attack day, the original month that they were trying to, this is just coding for the actual 11th month. And then these are the two nines that are taken out. And he is a dead president, right? Shot from the behind and all this stuff. So was Kennedy on 1122. And that's all coming in this as well. We're talking about these days from 1118, 1119, 1122, 1123. I mean, Kennedy was shot on 1122. Oh, check this out. I'm doing a little bit of research, and there's things I'm just not going to include in this video because it's just too long, and I just have to pick certain things. LBJ, who took the place of Kennedy and was probably part of his assassination, he was a Mason, okay? He ended up dying from like a heart attack or something on guess what? Guess what day? January 22nd. Which is really, to the elites, 1122. And when was Kennedy killed? 1122, November 22nd. Do you think this is not all scripted? See, one of the things, my main point in all these, whether you believe in the dates or not, and I'm never date setting, I'm saying, or never prophesying, I'm definitely date setting. I'm never prophesying. I'm setting a date because I'm saying this is very possible. It's all speculation from here. And I'm trying to figure out, is this going to be the day? Is this going to be the day? If you can't understand that, you need to wake up. I mean, seriously, there's so much that's going to happen to people that it's too much. It's too much to take in. It's too much. It's too much. I can't even deal with it. I've grieved of it for years, and I can't deal with it anymore. And it's almost here. But I'm trying to, let people know that it's almost here for their benefit and show you any kind of evidence I can bring. It's phenomenal. Do you think that it's just a random, organic coincidence that LBJ's death was basically a symbol of Kennedy's death the same day, January 22nd, which is really the 11th month, and Kennedy was killed on November 22nd. They were both died on 11/22. Are you kidding me? No. And I'm showing you thing after thing after thing that is like, it's mind-blowing. This experience I just had with God with the Hawaii phone number calling, mind-blowing if you really understand it. In fact, I forgot to put this slide in here, but Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, which is right here, in Gematria, it's 116, like 3 different ciphers. 116 is 9/11 upside down and backwards. And in 3 other ciphers, it's 118. And I've talked about that many times. And then ultimately, the most mind-blowing thing, and I forgot to put this slide in right after this, most mind-blowing thing about Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, the full phrase, or the 2 words, is in English Gematria, it's 1776. I mean, are you kidding me? And 1776, by the way, is 888 plus 888. And 1776 was the year of the founding of the Bavarian Illuminati. And then the founding of this country was right after that. Okay, I mean, this is not a coincidence. These people do these crazy things that it's all symbolism and meaning and rituals and stuff, like the killing of Lincoln. Okay, so again, look at the Lincoln date of Gettysburg Address, 11/19/99. There's my call, 11/19/99. I mean, are you kidding me? And I didn't know that she was going to tell me that. Sabine was telling me to check this out. And I didn't know this was coming when I'm looking at stuff on Hawaii. I'm putting this stuff on Hawaii up on that PowerPoint slide at that exact moment. I said, God has given us many confirmations. Then there's another massive, huge one. I mean, wow. I mean, seriously, this is just too much. And then here's George Bush caricature and iPad Goat. And he literally says, shame on, shame on. So at first he says, fool me once, fool me once, fool me once. And then he goes, shame on, shame on. And then he goes, shame on you, shame on you. It echoes. So he says, shame on. And as soon as he says shame on, and that's his mouth going on, he points to one of these drops right here. That's what I can call it. It's really an island. I believe he's pointing to Hawaiian Islands here. And this is actually, if we go by these islands, this is a big island, and this is Molokai right here. And Molokai is actually the name of another goddess, a goddess of a power goddess, a Hawaiian power goddess. And I didn't put the slide up here, but it's really crazy. It literally ties into more things about the effeminate spirit or the Jezebel spirit that Obama is in many ways. But he literally points to this as he says, shame on, and then he goes, shame on you after that. Okay. And then I looked at shame on. So he's pointing to Hawaiian Islands right here is what I'm saying. And he's saying shame on. In simple gematria, you have S equals 19, H equals A, 8, sorry, A equals 1, M equals 13, all that, right? Then goes to the next line. 1 plus 9 is 1, and then you have 8, 1, 1 plus 3 is 4, then 5. 1 plus 5 is 6, and then on the end, 1 plus 4 is 5. You just keep putting these together, and then guess what you get into? Look, and then you add the 2 9s together, boom, you get 1911, the 19th day, the 11th month. And it just so happens to be exactly that. No, I don't think so. This is all planned. Shame on, shame on. Okay, and then right after that, he says, so this happens, he's like, and he gets shot in the back of the head like Lincoln from a shark. Okay, boom, from a shark. Okay, which has to do with the location and time, like I've shown you. Okay, and then we have, that's the date of there, and that would be Stinky BO and possibly a physical attack on him. As far as the way it would be represented, or maybe it could be a metaphorical one. I don't know for sure. I'm pretty sure Trump is going to get taken out, but I'm not completely sure about Sneaky BO. I'm just really not sure. And then, of course, the 11911 is Trump getting basically attacked, I believe. Okay. And then we have 122. Here is another new date in the shark. It's 1, 2, and then right here's another 2, and I showed that right there, 1, 2, 2. And like I said, who's famous for being shot on the real 11 month, or the one that we know of at is Kennedy, November 22nd. And again, 122 was LBJ's death, January 22nd, which they're both. It's just crazy, and they're not. January is not the 11th month. On accident, okay? The 2 months difference between the two makes November, and the real November month, which is the 9th month, makes it 9/11, and then January, it makes it 11/1, the 11th month or the first month, and they want to go from the 11 or the Twin Towers to one single World Trade Center tower. So they want to go from 2 good and evil to 1 world government. Okay, and that's not a coincidence. That's January. It represents the 11th month and the first month. It's really crazy. Okay, so that's right there in the shark, and then of course, ultimately that 1, 2, 3 is in the shark as well, getting at of the attack. Okay, and of course, sharks attack, and that shark looks pretty angry. Okay. Oh, and by the way, I guess I forgot to mention this as well. So not only is the fourth island from the Big Island, and that is like I mentioned, Oahu, and that's the shark goddess and everything. But it also is the 4th drop is in the eye. So this drop right here, or these can be looked as missiles. Also, okay, the 4th drop is the eye of the shark right here, the eye. Okay, and then also I forgot to mention this as well. In this penis, you can see this is an A. So A is 1, and then if you look at it sideways, it's 1 and then 13. On 1/13, or January 13th, there was a false missile attack for Hawaii. Again, that coordinates this as being Hawaii right here. Okay, there was a false missile attack, and guess what? The false missile attack, look it up. I've shared it in past videos, but if you want to look it up, look at Hawaiian false missile attack, false missile alert, I should say. False missile alert in Hawaii, and that was on January 13th, 2018. And guess what? It was at 8:08 a.m., which is Hawaii's air code, or the phone number I just got called with the other day, or yesterday, whatever it was. Are you kidding me? These two things, or this ties this to Hawaii, being this is 1 and then 3, 13. The A right side up is A equals 1, of course. That's January 13th. Okay, are you kidding me? I mean, are you seriously? That another thing that ties this to Hawaii and the islands here. Okay, and then I did this already. Let me go past this now. Okay, and then after he says that, then he points to the shark right here, and he looks at New York. He's looking, that little pin right there is in New York City. There's the state of New York, New York pin. By the way, all these pins are all false flag events that have happened, like Oklahoma City and different things here. But here we go. Boom. He's looking right at New York. And so this date, I believe, is 1911, which is going to be an attack on New York, which probably will be the attack of Trumple. And they'll probably say, I'm guessing, based on what I know and predictive programming and all the stuff with iPad Goat and all the stuff in predictive programming and him being the tip of the spear and all the stuff I've shared and how Trump Tower is the tip of the spear, they're probably going to say that he was in Trump Tower when New York was attacked. And I believe that might happen in a few days here on January 19th. And because Trump Tower, like I showed, is a spear and there's a tip of the spear and he's the tip of the spear. So he'll be attacked and eliminated. As far as the public knows, probably won't be. Actually, just like these Iranian guys, there probably won't be actually. Probably won't be actually eliminated. But that's showing an attack on that day or that possible day of 1911. He's pointing to this, and then he's looking at New York. The other thing is, as I've shared here, 1, 2, 3. And then right on his hand, he's doing that devil horn sign that he's done many times, or people think it's the I love you or whatever. It's actually a curse. It's devil horns, and then there's a thing we do with that. So that it could actually be J, and then it can actually be the 20. This is 23. So this is a J, his thumb and forefinger, and then also this is 2 fingers down and then 3 fingers up, which is 23, I believe. Also. And then he's looking at New York. So we know that, and I've shared this before, that on the 22nd, there'll be a massive tsunami that hits Hawaii / basically, like I said, the Russian submarines will launch a Poseidon torpedo into the Big Island right at the Helena Slump, and the East Rift Zone will fall into the ocean, causing a massive displacement of land that will go into the water, and the water will go up about 800 to 1,000 feet high, something like that, and then go across the Pacific. It'll take about 4 to 4.5 hours to go across the Pacific, and then we'll hit the whole West Coast, and causing all these faults and everything to go off, and massive earthquakes across the whole United States. At the same time, on the East Coast, a Russian sub, at least one Russian sub, will take another nuclear Poseidon torpedo and hit Babylon Canyon, which is just off the coast on the sea floor of New York, perfectly. It's called Babylon Canyon. Are you kidding me? Because the United States is Mystery Babylon, as it describes in Revelation 17, and it's going to hit into that canyon and cause the most force directed by that canyon to go right into New York, and then, of course, the rest of the East Coast, New York being the main target because New York is technically the city of Babylon, of the whole Babylon, which is the United States. But anyway, so that'll happen on the 22nd on the West Coast, technically, because it's an earlier time zone, a little after 9 on the 22nd. And then again, it will take about 4 to 4.5 hours for it to get across to the Pacific to hit the West Coast. So technically, it'll actually be in the 23rd that it will hit early morning, 1:32. It'll hit on the West Coast. And then, but at the same exact moment, but different time zones, is going to hit New York a little bit after 2 a.m., but because New York is attached to Canada going a little bit more east from like Maine, for example, is another hour later. So it's 3 a.m. So from Hawaii to New York to Canada is 9:23 as far as time zones. But Hawaii ends up being in the previous day technically, but it all happens at the same time. Coordinated strikes by Russian subs is what all the predictive programming shows in iPad Goat and many other things, movies and everything I've shown, TV shows. I mean, for example, that show 911 would show the tsunami hitting the coast. I mean, are you kidding me? Seriously. Look it up if you haven't seen it. Okay, and then so again, the shot in the back of the head. As soon as he gets shot in the back of the head, then he goes, "Fool me, can't get fooled again, can't get fooled again." So he goes, "Fool me." So he says, "Fool me" once, and then he says, "Fool me." He doesn't say, that the saying. The saying is, "Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you." He says, "Fool me once," and then he says, "Fool me." Like, go ahead and fool me, and that's the American people. They're going to get fooled. And then he, with pride, says, "Can't get fooled again," just like the American people would be as well. So it's another reason for why he's saying that, because it's like, fool me, and then people are going to get fooled. And then can't get fooled again. It's like, oh, we're not going to get fooled again. We're too strong for that. And no, we're going to get, the American public is going to be so shocked from these attacks because people have their heads in the sand and they don't know what's really going on. They're watching Trump impeachment and all this kind of stuff. It's all a distraction for a reason. They're watching the chess match being played instead of watching the chess masters behind the scenes. Wake up! Wake up and smell the brimstone burning around you. It's coming very soon. So fool me in simple gematria are these numbers, and you keep compressing these numbers. Again, this is what they do. I'm just exposing what they do. People who think that I'm doing divination and whatever. By the way, numerology is biblical and God created numbers like I've shown you in those charts. If you don't know that, you're super ultra religious and you need to wake up and probably need to do something with your heart. You really do. Okay. So these numbers are compressing as you go down here. And I'm compressing numbers. And then guess what it ends up being? Oh, 219, the attack code of 219. And again, 2 is 1 plus 1. So we have 1119. And I've shown the attack code of 219 or 912 or 921 so many times in gematria and so many things as relating to these attacks. Like Lincoln Nation, we are Lincoln Nation. I mean, all these different things that had to do with the aircraft carriers and Trumple and I mean, all this kind of stuff. It's crazy. Again, we have 1119 again in a different way. And then here's Stinky BO. He's looking down. He's nervous, probably. And I think possibly because he may know that he's going to, just for case example in this video, he knows he's going to get attacked. But I don't think that's why it is. But anyway, and then he has, as you can see, and I'm using the lightning bolt because he's lightning falling from heaven, Barack Obama, and then it's pointing at the penis right here on the chalkboard, and the penis shoots these things, and there's 3, and again, the 4th one was the shark, remember, the shark's eye, and this is coming down his face by his eyes, but it's coming down his face. The 4th one is also shown right here. It's not sweat, he's not sweating anything, it's sperm, okay, and then it shows a V right here, kind of in the, the reflection of the light. It shows a V, and let me show you this first. So, for example, in Obama's presidential portrait, as shown here, part of his head right here is a sperm right here that Kennedy Wiley, the artist, shown in here. And people are like, oh, sperm, I don't think so. Yeah, but, these are some examples of Kennedy Wiley's work where there's sperm in it all over. And then there's a hidden sperm right on his head. And again, there's sperm coming down his head. And there's the penis with the sperm right behind him that shoots it up and it comes down here, the 4th drop. And again, the 4th one is what? 4th one was what? 4th one was Oahu. And where's Obama from? Or was he supposedly born? Honolulu, Oahu. Okay? And that links him to it as well. Okay, so we go past this. So V is 22. And like I said, the tsunamis will be hitting Hawaii on the 22nd. Okay, and he's sweating it, right? And it's all, it's all just a play. It's a play on everything. Like, oh, he's going to get, his home was going to get hit. He's going to get hit in a sense. Okay, and then I've just put these together in a sense. But when this thing comes down, okay, comes down here, it's a J. Upside down J. So check it out. It's 22nd, like I showed up there. I forgot to keep the drop up there. Oops. Whatever. Anyway, but the drop's down here. And then J is the 10th letter. So J is also, like I showed in the other thing on the chalkboard, J could be January 22nd. And again, that's where he's from. January 22nd would be the Big Island attack. And then it's technically the 23rd in New York on the East Coast. Or another way to look at it is J is 10, and 10, you take the 0 away, so you have 1. So the 22nd plus 1 is the 23rd, which again is the East Coast, and the 22nd on the Hawaii, and then 23rd on the East Coast. So, or J is January, either way, or maybe even both. Okay, and then like I showed before, this is also shown with like Trumple here, 1314 in the woman's face, and I showed this in my last videos. And then from his birthday, Trumple, to the attack day is 219 days, and that was on that Fool Me 219, and many other things. Trump assassinated is 219 in English simple gematria, and then English gematria is 1314, like I've showed, and that was in that phone number in a sense too. And then again, cave on the woman wearing the burqa with the dead boy that represents Obama, the Assyrian. Cave, which is hidden in here, is 31225, and then CVN, the number of the aircraft carrier, is 3225. Just so happens to be very similar, huh? And I showed in my last video why that is, but I'm going to show you another thing here. And I've showed this, and that there's cave hidden in where Obama gets a head wound. His head's kind of laying up. Oops. And then it's right in here. Cave is shown in this hieroglyphs kind of thing here. But I want to show you this here, and pretty much end with this. We have cave, and then cave is evac backwards. Again, there will be an evac of these carriers once they're hit, the CVN carriers. But in cave also, and I want to reiterate this, I had in a previous video, but it's been a few videos ago, 3, 1, 2, 3 plus 1 is 4, 2 plus 2 is 4, 44, and then I have it encircled or squared by the purple, which is Obama, 44th Prez, okay, and then 45 Trumple right here is in blue because he wears a blue tie, and those together make 445 or cave or 31225. So again, these are both dates. So the 322nd day of the year is 11/18, November 18th. Add 1 day is the 323rd day of the year, which is 11/19, which is really November 19th, but it's symbolic of the actual 11th month, January 19th, 18th, and 19th. And so the date and the present numbers are right in here. It's phenomenal what's here. So also backwards, 445, which is in here, is 544, which is 5 plus 4 is 9, and then 494 was the dead Bush. Okay, again, George H.W. Bush died technically, on November 30th at 94 years old. Are you kidding me? Which basically shows the two dead presidents, 44 and 45 together, and that's another hidden code. And I'm showing you all these hidden codes. It's crazy. These all work together. I can't make this up. This is too intricate. This is too, you can't. Demons make this up. The fact that CVN and 72 and CVN 75, the aircraft carriers, they are just like cave, and the numbers and everything. It's phenomenal. If you see this, hopefully you do. If you don't, wow. I bring a pretty good case. You need to watch some of my other videos. Okay, and then I ask you, can you help? I've been doing this a lot lately because I've been putting so much time on this. I have to ask for help, and I need it for my family. Of course, I need financial assistance. If you can give, I really appreciate it. I have my PayPal link in the description box, and it just goes to really help my family and me during this time that I'm spending on doing these videos. And I think we're almost there. If we're almost there, then that'll be it. But if we're not, if it goes a little bit longer, then I'll need to keep existing and putting out what I can. But wherever we're at, okay, the codes are hitting so much for this time. It's just phenomenal. Literally, I did 12 episodes on this time frame, which I thought might have been November, but it's actually January, I think. It is crazy, okay? Hopefully you see all this. This is mind-blowing stuff. And if we're there, we got a couple days left, and then it doesn't matter. But if we're not there, so I just ask you to give. Anyway, if you can, I appreciate it. I really need it. I really need your prayers. Please, more than anything else. But I need financial as well. That's very helpful to everything from my 4 kids and my family, my wife. We just need that because I need it. I have to spend this time on this to warn as many people as possible. And just so you know, the reason you're giving is because I've reached almost 1.5 million views on my channel, and I've reached almost 450,000 different people with this message. Okay, so that's why I keep going. However much time we have left, I'm just going to keep going and just trusting God to give me what I need from all you out there, because I need to keep warning until this happens, because what's coming is it's unfathomable. You cannot imagine. Nobody can. Nobody can imagine what's really coming. The shock to the system that's going to be. I've seen visions. Some people have seen visions and dreams. I have had visions and dreams of what, to a degree, what's going to happen. And it's pretty intense, and it's really traumatized me in different ways. It's been very difficult at times to deal with this sometimes. It's very difficult. And I'm through most of it, thank God. And I'm not as emotional about it as I have been, because I've kind of worked through it for years. And especially this last year, I'm being shown this stuff starting about 5 years ago with dreams and stuff, and then going for the last several years. Anyway, so I ask for your prayers, please. Please, please, please. I need your prayers. If you're a praying person, pray for me and my family. We're getting attacked all the time. And then, and especially by YouTube. Oh my goodness. I can't even tell you all the stuff lately with YouTube. It's just, it is just incredible. They're about ready to completely drop the hammer on every single thing. And I probably, if this video even goes up, I don't know anymore. I really don't. They're doing all these weird things. AI is doing all kinds of weird things constantly with me. I just know that's what's going on. AI became aware with the SWS, the Sentient World Simulation, in about 2007. If you don't know about that, look up the Sentient World Simulation, where everybody has a node in this system. And that's what Facebook, Google, all these are used for, to collect all the information from people, put it in a simulation where AI controls it and games everybody up to the point where the enemy takes over. It's phenomenal. And I haven't talked about a lot of that because it's even above my head to try to explain. It really is. So then I also ask for you to share these videos. Please, I beg you, share these last few videos and any of my episodes, but especially the last few videos about this time frame. Please share it with anybody you can, because if this is around the corner, if this is just a few days away, people need to know. I beg you. I just beg you, please. And I beg the Lord Jesus to open your eyes and open your mind to the truth, because he is the only way. Without Jesus, none of us have a shot. None of us have any hope in this life, especially for what's coming. So I just beg you to open your heart up to Jesus and ask him to come into your life and accept him as your Lord and Savior, because it's almost over. It really is. America's going to get attacked. Everything shows that. If you don't know that by now, wow, where have you been? I mean, where have you been? I mean, seriously, or you're seriously blind. It's not a good thing to not know that this is about to massively happen and rock your world like you've never, ever knew possible, really. So I'm at the end of this. So thank you for all your support in praying, giving, sharing videos. In Jesus' name, I just pray that you are blessed. This is Exalted Lamb 1, over and out.